phenomenal performance from Sergio Perez. The street fighter's done it again. Sergio Perez wins in Azerbaijan to take his 6th career victory, to beat his teammate.
Behind those fast hands. Ruiz is hurt again.
And both of them.
They're trading and Ariola's getting. Ruiz is hurt again. And he's
Rossi on the brakes and leads the way into turn 1.
Gibernau and Rossi head to head, side by side with a whole shot. It's going to be Rossi on the brakes. Rossi
Good afternoon and splendid time to be on Sports Hub right here on Sportsprint Television, and it's yours sincerely, Princewill Oviesan, that you know as the Duke, signing in. It's a big one. The National Youth Game is taking place right there in Asaba, and so many stories are actually emanating, and Delta State is taking the forefront to showcase that yes, when it comes to facility, they can give the very best to the nation. We'll be going straight to Asaba to join a veteran journalist and expert when it comes to youth development right there in Delta State. We want to see what is really happening in Asaba and his own view concerning the sports, the National Youth Game as it's holding. Veteran journalist Harrison Ocholor is on the line with me. Harrison, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Princewill, and good afternoon to sports fans around the world.
Thank you so very much. Thanks for joining the show. Let's quickly take you down the road. The National Youth Game is in Asaba, and Asaba is Agog. What is the current situation on ground, sir?
All right, thank you very much. The National Youth Game in the former governor, Senator Dr. Ifeanyi Okowa was in office. The Delta State government signed a memorandum of understanding that Delta State will host the next 4 editions of the National Youth Games. Before now, it was hosted by Kwara State for several years. So the National Youth Games started in earnest last week, Wednesday, with the arrival of athletes from the 35 states and Abuja. And the original intention was to host 7,000 plus athletes in almost 35 events. We later discovered that that was the agreement reached at the TRO, and after the TROM, it was agreed that about 7,600 and something athletes will come for 35 games. But after the arrival on Wednesday into Friday for the opening ceremony on Saturday, we discovered that states came in with close to about 9,000 athletes. Whoa. So that puts a stress on facilities and accommodation. But we've moved ahead. Thank God for that we have His Right Honorable Sheriff for active a director, the Delta State Sports Commission put a place to ensure that the states host the National Youth Games without hiccups. Okay. So we into Wednesday being 5, I guess, about 5. But let us did the medal at the moment. 21 gold medals, followed by Lagos with about the table released yesterday night, but we know that by this evening the tables would have changed because some of the sports have rounded up, others are still on. We know that swimming, for example, ended this afternoon with Lagos leading the medals table with about 7 gold medals, and followed by Delta with 6 or so, or 5. Yes. Fantastic. So you know the way swimming has gone, taken from a cue from the global standard of swimming, is that it is now about award of points and award of medals, not going by okay, you bring your athletes in and they win medals. No, it is adjudicated in such a way that medals go now by the number of, not by athletes per se, but by what states would win in terms of medal records. So medals that are awarded based on team performance, not by individual performance by individual swimmers. So that's for swimming. We have had results coming from the other venues, rugby, badminton. Just this afternoon now, we still have karate on. Weightlifting ended yesterday. The beautiful thing, Princewill, about the National Youth Games, the beautiful thing is the discovery of talents. We discovered over the years, Delta State has been perennial winners. We've won all the editions of the National Youth Games from inception to date. And definitely, by look of things, we're definitely going to win this one again. But the beautiful thing, it's not about just winning alone. It's about the discovery of talents and what it means for sports development for Nigeria. We want to see future swimmers. Like I speak to you now, athletics is on, track and field events on inside the main bowl. You will be amazed to see the young talents that are coming out that will replace the likes of Blessing Okagbare, Divine Oduduru, all the big stars that we have had. There's a generation for
generation next.
Right, next. That's the right word to use. We're coming in their numbers, and kudos to the coaches that have gone into the nooks and crannies of this country to discover from the north. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
From the north and the south, we are going to see names. One thing about sports is that sports unites. We are going to see names coming from the north. We are going to see names coming from the east, the west, and the south. This is the beauty of sports. For those of us who have been in it for years, what we want to see is in such a way that these junior athletes will grow into intermediate and elite athletes in the next 5-10 years. That's where all this is going, the direction.
All right, let me ask you at this junction, what is the welfare situation of these young athletes right there in Asaba?
Excellent. We saw social media reports coming with videos or pictures of how athletes, where athletes stay. It beats my imagination. You see, one thing that we were taught in our many years of journalism is investigative journalism.
Very true.
You don't thrive on social media, using mobile phones to now capture. You see, this is the picture, and I need to present it the way it is. Delta State, in accepting to host, decided to put everything in place, including that we had to close schools, boarding schools. We had to close boarding schools. We had to close our universities that is situated in Asaba here for the next 2 weeks to ensure let's have accommodation for the duration of the games. So now, what you may have seen were just athletes who were just resting in a different environment within the environment. Just so when you see they put foams on the floor, they say, "Oh, the Delta State government or the organizers did not give conducive accommodation to athletes." It beats me. It beats me, and I'm like. And if you go find out the people who are doing it, they are not foul. They are journalists who would have people on ground. You see, Princewill, I like to educate young journalists to say, do investigative journalism. Do investigative, find out the true position. So just to answer your question, the welfare situation is excellent. For accommodation, everything is fine. For feeding, everything is fine. For all the rest, you want to talk about water, you want to talk about electricity. Delta State, like Warri people will say, no, they carry last. Delta will certainly not carry last in this one.
Okay. All right, before you go, Joel would like to ask you a question.
Good afternoon, Honorable.
Joel, how are you?
I'm fine.
Joel has been worrying my life.
Honorable, sorry for that. I know you're very busy. For me, what I want to ask is this. Over the years, Delta State has turned out to be one of the best when it comes to sports festival, the National Youth Games. Ever since the inception in 2013, Delta State has been the forefront of winning all the medals and all that. And that means we keep increasing in numbers. I'll say we, because I'm from Delta, we keep increasing in numbers. Does the commission or Delta State as a whole, do they have any plans of building a games village in the future? Because you just talk about numbers right now. A games village in the sense that where you can accommodate possibly 20,000 athletes, because we see stuff like this happening in other West African countries, and I think we are due for that. Does Delta State have any plan to build a games village in the future?
Beautiful question. I sat on the transition committee of the present governor when he was a governor-elect. And one of the things when we discussed sports was to first of all have a blueprint, a working sport document will embrace all of this about, meaning we want to look at it from short term, we want it from medium, long term. Now, talks games is what we are looking at something beyond village.
Okay.
We want to have a facility that we call it a Delta State Sports Complex. Now, what it will bring will be an Olympic-sized stadium with facilities, and of course, we want training pitches. There will be a sports academy within the facility and a sports hostel that can take 30,000. And it is not just having a sports hostel. We want to create it as a 5-star, meaning, Joel, that will hand over the hospitality side of it to a globally hospitality brand.
Fantastic.
Now, that is one side of it. We also have a sports institute within the facility. The Sports Institute will be for sports science, sports psychology, and sports management. We believe that after Delta was carved out of Bendel, when you have Delta and Edo, the Institute of Sports Physical Education in Abuze was one facility in the good old days that brought up all the names that you hear that are retiring today. So the administration of His Excellency Right Honorable Sheriff Oborewu believes, for those of us who are close to him and are grounded in sports, we believe that the only way, Joel, to manage sports administration, two things. Number one, it stands on three buckets really. Number one will be, first of all, let's have a sports policy document. A sports policy document that speaks to mission and vision to drive in Delta State. Number two, let's talk about discovery, nurturing, and grooming to elite level of young talents. You may be aware, sports is an economic empowerment too, and this administration will certainly want to thrive on that. The third bucket that I need to talk about is sports can take our youth off the streets, anti-social vices. This is the direction. So we are repositioning it in such a way that even our educational system, His Excellency is looking at how we can create sports schools. Sports schools that will be coming up shortly, but all of that will be encapsulated in a sports policy document.
I want to say a very big thank you for joining us this afternoon, Honorable Harrison Ocholor.
The Honorable, I don't know whether or you give me a... Nice.
All right, we've been talking to the veteran sport journalist and sport management expert, Honorable Harrison Ocholor. He has just asked me if I gave him that. Yes, I did, for being a guest on the show, and he has thrown more light into the happenings right there in Asaba National Youth Games. So for whatever you've heard or seen somewhere else, they are all whichever someone's imagination. We'll take the other side of the story as time goes on before the game runs out. And we want to assure you that we'll keep bringing in reports as the National Youth Games unfold and getting closer to the crescendo. We'll go on this quick break. We still have another guest, but that will be after we've taken this break and we're back to look at the show proper. We'll be right back. Do stay tuned.